Well, hey YouTube, it's Petey Twofinger. This morning I made a video of myself working out this piece of music that's going to end up being a song for the duo. So what comes next? Well, I had some breakfast and coffee, and then I put together a drum track, which this piece has more changes than a typical piece. So whenever it starts getting complicated like that, I like to, as soon as possible, lay down a reference track. And that's just an example of me playing it. And it doesn't have to be really a good performance. It can have all kinds of mistakes. But the timing when the changes come up, that needs to be flawless, when the key changes. Because that's what this is for. It's for me, in case, because I will forget. If I come back to this later, I'm going to be like, what? And then I'll be like, oh, that's because you're playing it wrong. That's why you're in the middle of the B part and it ends when it's supposed to end in the A, is because you played it too long or something isn't matching up. So in order to eliminate any confusion between now and when I've taught it to my partner and she makes notes, she's like a computer. Once it gets to the point where she knows it, I can't slip nothing past her because she's really good with it. So let me... Like I should say, I heard in my head, I heard a gong, and I heard a synthesizer that I want to put in here too, but I need to quickly get this reference track done, and then I can go, there's other stuff I got to do. So we'll talk more about that after I get this recorded. So here's the reference track. This piece of music is going to be called Old Number 57. right, old number 57 scratch track. Now here come the motorcycles and the lawnmowers. Well, hey, they weren't here when I played, and that's all that counts. So I'll tell you what, like I said, I would do the gongs. I would maybe pitch shift those gongs. They're samples. You can just type in gong sound effect and then start downloading. Or buy a sound effect library. Pay for it. So yeah, you pitch shift. I'll see, maybe pitch shift them to match the key. It depends on if they sound cool, or if I can really hear a distinctive pitch and maybe find one that's in the key or close, and then I won't have to pitch shift much. That's the thing with pitch shifting, you know. The pitch shifter that comes built into Adobe Audition is very good. It doesn't leave a lot of artifacts where it sounds like I am a robot, where it's all chopped up like that, or like a cell phone sound. So sometimes you can get away with that. Then I'll use the synthesizer. It's a start-stop type of synth. I really like. It sounds kind of modern. And that's the one that I've been using that does that I like is a free VSTI called Wallow Drone. So if you're looking for that sound, it's all over my last album, Slow Malone or 02022020. Talk about a bad name for anything. Wallow Drone. So when I get done with adding those tracks, I'll balance the volumes out. Then I'll add a compressor, a stereo bus compressor, like a 176 clone, or an FET compressor. It just kind of depends. A little bit of compression on the master bus for the mix down. And then I will export a wave file of the highest quality out of the Reaper software, and then I'll take that wave and I'll slap it into another piece of software, my wave editor, which is also a DAW that I use. It's Adobe Audition 3.01. Put it in the edit view. I will go ahead and run it through my mastering process, which is Isotope Ozone version 5. And that's just some EQ, a little bit more dynamics processing or compression. There's a stereo expander, a lot of stuff that I don't really use. Primarily, it's EQ, a little bit of compression, and then there's a mastering reverb that I like to use in there, and all of that is tuned per song. That mastering process, it's not like slap it through this preset. I really listen and play around with that. And especially that mastering reverb, I find really with all that stuff, less is more. It's all just slight adjustments. But once I have it where it's sounding good, and there's also this thing of perceived volume, like you can look at it in the wave edit view and see, okay, where the peaks that I'm looking at are at like minus 3 dB or whatever. But depending on the meat, like on the inside of that, where it's solid, if the thicker that is, then the quieter the track you need to do. If you're trying to get a bunch of tracks to match the same volume level, like let's say the drums are, they're doing that, and then you got another song that's a slow, like a Pink Floyd tempo, where it's boop, 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 boop. You're going to be able to mix that one that's slower a little hotter than the fast one, simply because the other one is a louder track to start with. So there's weird like stuff with perceived volume and all of that type of stuff that I can't really describe it so much, other than to tell you need to be aware that looking at it isn't always going to give you a stable volume, perceived volume level. You know what I mean? You gotta listen. So that being said, combining using both your ears and your eyes and experience, you'll be able to do this stuff and learn how to get it what you're after, really, you know. So the next step is laying. We've got a scratch track, so we're good. The next step I will put some sound effects on the intro and the outro, and the purpose of that is on our MP3 players. I get these cheap MP3 players from China. When they start out, if I put a 4 count in, the first 4 count, the first click, will get cut off. It's almost like it's got a noise gate. So I have a little bit of sound effect. I'll have some wind or some low rumble or whatever it may be, spacey sound effects. I always have some different sound come in before the count in, so I don't miss one of those count ins. The other way to do is to add another count in. Like, let's say it's an 8 count, well, you put a 9, and on that ninth, that first one, you turn the volume down a little bit, make sure it's not real long, and sure enough, it'll completely get cut off by the MP3 player, and then it's open, the gate's open, and the additional counts come through. So there's that trick, which is goofy. And really, like I said, what I'll do is it goes through like 3 or 4 versions that are on the memory card in our practice MP3 player. Like, you never know. I'll finish it and I won't micromanage it too much. I'll just upload it, and then if I notice, hey, that one's too loud or it's too quiet, I'll take care of it. I'll have a master copy of it in here. I'll reload it up into the mastering software from the raw WAV file, and then make sure that it is where I need it to be volume-wise, and then re-export it as an MP3, and then copy over all of the files, delete all the backups, and then print it onto the card that goes into our practice MP3. And like I said, for whatever reason, that process happens a few times. There's some songs there's probably been 20 versions of them for whatever reason. I've just edited and edited and edited to get it to where I want it. So it's not so much a real refined thing where I'm super scientific about it. It's kind of hit or miss, and it kind of happens as it goes along for me to get to where I'm really happy with one of these drum loop files. And some of them, there's guitars on some of them. Like if it's on an album that I played, I'll leave a couple rhythm guitar tracks or different parts, synthesizers, and then when we're playing live, we've got a little bit more behind us. But I really don't like doing that so much, because then people with a sharp ear, musicians, are going to go, hey, that guy's not playing that. It's going to look like I might be lip syncing the whole thing, which we've never done that. I could care so less, really. So yeah, that's what's next. I've got to add more tracks and then go through the mastering process and then add the reverb and then convert it to an MP3. Then it'll be time to teach it to my old lady, and we work on that till we get it right, till it gets sounding good, and then we'll shoot a live performance for you guys coming up real soon. So again, I'm a handicapped guitar player. I only have 2 fingers. I never said I was talented or good. If you're coming on here to lay into me and tear into me in the comments section, come on, man. Come on. These songs, these 2 songs, I just wrote them right now. I wrote one last night, and I wrote this piece today. I'm documenting it as I go along, and within a couple of days, you'll see, within a week. I don't know when we're going to film ourselves doing the next thing, but those 2 songs that I just wrote are going to be on there. So, yeah, there are probably going to be some mistakes in it. And do I care? No. It's a live performance of a song I just wrote. I'm not a professional musician, and that's not what we were going for, is some perfect performances. Not at all. I'm not Steely Dan. That does not appeal to me, that idea. It's rock and roll. It's kind of sloppy, and there's mistakes. That's just a huge part of it for me. All right, you guys. And a part of that is I'm not trying to be Pink Floyd. I'm not trying to be Steely Dan. And I'm not trying to copy anybody. So I can just... Is it a mistake? That being said, I do like when it sounds good. But that's just not who I am. I'm not a virtuoso. You know. Anyway, I need to just get over that. To the guy who left those nasty comments, come on, dude. I saw your channel. Your 6 videos, your 6 songs with 6 views and 6 subscriptions. And you come over here yelling and screaming at me, calling me all kinds of names. Get out of here. Just get out of here. All right, you guys. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and peace.